What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Happiest Most Magical channel. My name is Lynn and thank you so much for clicking on this video today. I have Lucy right behind me. She's taking a nap, so you may see glimpses of her throughout this video. There are some big changes right now at Walt Disney World because of the pandemic. So there are no fast passes. You do have to make theme park reservations. There's no character meet and greets. There are no parades, there are no fireworks. So let's talk about what the experience was like being there. And I'm telling you now that there is still a lot of magic to be felt at the most magical place on earth. I'm gonna tell you guys our experience because we were there in mid-January celebrating my 34th birthday. And yeah, so just a little bit of a background on that trip. We had that trip planned since like end of 2019. So we had this big trip planned. We were gonna do 1 week at Walt Disney World and then 1 week on the Disney Magic. We were gonna drive over to Miami, hop on the ship and sail and then come back home after. And once the sailing got canceled, we decided to just extend the Walt Disney World portion of it. And I'm so happy that we did. This was one of my favorite vacations, going over to Walt Disney World, because it was the first time we didn't feel rushed. We got to see everything that we wanted to see. We got to do all the attractions that were open. And it was just nice to be able to experience those things without a huge crowd of people. And of course, doing it safe and cautiously as possible. And the cast members, they do a phenomenal job at creating the magic. If you're a cast member and you're watching this, thank you so much for spreading the magic and for creating this safe environment for your guests. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the things that we brought with us on this vacation to help us feel prepared and safe. Number one, we brought a bunch of masks. So we decided to bring mostly disposable masks just because we find them easier to breathe in personally, and then also because it was so nice to be able to put a fresh mask on when the previous one was sweaty or dirty or we dropped it or whatever. So yeah, we brought a ton of masks. I would say we used between 2 to 4 masks a day, just to give you an idea of how many to bring. Number 2, disinfecting wipes. So it was nice to be able to have that peace of mind that we could clean by ourselves, like commonly like high touch point areas such as an elevator button, benches, tables, basically anything that's in a common area. We felt like we had the weapons to be proactive and clean something before we utilized that space. Number 3, hand sanitizer and hand wipes. So there is a lot of hand sanitizer sprinkled around the parks, the resorts, and even in Disney Springs. And as far as rides go, there is hand sanitizer before the attraction starts and then also immediately after the attraction. So even though Disney does provide a lot of hand sanitizer for guests to use, I'm so happy that we brought our own backup just in case the dispensers were out. There was a handful of situations where getting off the attraction, the hand sanitizer dispenser was empty. So I'm happy that we had our own backup. And as far as the hand wipes go, it was nice to be able to wipe our hands down before we ate and after we ate and get rid of like the crumbs and stuff off of our hands. Number 4 is hand soap. So I don't understand why it's not like a standard thing that's already in your hotel room. Yes, there's bars of soap, and yes, there's usually like body wash in your room, but they don't carry hand soap. And for me, it's just not the same feeling. So I like to be able to have the hand soap that we like and just have it available for us to use. Okay, so I hope you found those 4 things useful to bring with you on your upcoming Walt Disney World vacation. So let's talk about our traveling experience. To be honest, the traveling part to get to Walt Disney World was the most stressful part of the entire trip. So we had to fly from Anchorage, Alaska to Orlando, Florida, and we did have a long layover in Seattle. Both of the flights were filled to capacity. Alaska Airlines doesn't block out the middle seats anymore. I usually already have a lot of anxiety about traveling, but my anxiety was through the roof. Okay, so even though I had a lot of anxiety with traveling, I did have some peace of mind knowing that the Alaska Airlines employees were doing an excellent job upholding their rules of everyone wearing face masks if they were not eating or drinking. Alaska Airlines planes also have 2 hospital-grade HEPA filters that filter the air every 3 minutes on board. So knowing that stuff helped me feel a little bit more at ease. Alright, so once we got to Orlando, we went to go get our luggage since they are no longer doing luggage transfers. And then we made our way down to the Disney's Magical Express area, which I will really miss once it's officially gone. But anyways, the check-in process was just like normal. We got into a specific line that they told us to get into. And we thought we were getting on the bus because a bunch of people were getting on buses, but it may have been because we were the only people heading to Saratoga Springs at the moment that they just gave us our own personal taxi. Yeah, I felt so cool because we didn't have to make any stops anywhere. We just got delivered directly to Saratoga Springs. And I thought that was an awesome, unique experience because that has never happened to us before. So once we got to Saratoga Springs, our room was already ready for us. We did online check-in, so on the Walt Disney World app, it just said, boom, your room is ready. This is your room number. You can head over there now. So we had bell services drive us in a little golf cart to get us to our building. If you're not familiar with Saratoga Springs, it's like a big, huge neighborhood. So I can't imagine dragging our luggage to where we were staying because it would have been a really far walk from the main entrance of Saratoga Springs. But anyways, so our room was so beautiful, and I can't wait to share with you our room tour of Saratoga Springs. That was one of our favorite rooms during this trip. And anyways, they had like this placard that talked about the enhanced cleaning. I don't think I really noticed anything different other than the remote being in its own little clear plastic baggie that said clean on it. And then also in the bathroom at the toiletries area, there was like this plastic shield on top of the shampoo, conditioner, and body wash saying that it had been cleaned. So if you're the type of person that likes to buy those refillable mugs at Disney resorts, good news, you can still do that. It's just a very different experience when you refill your mug. So if you're eating at a quick service area at a hotel where there's a refill station, there's always going to be a cast member there attending that area. So you can't get your drinks by yourself. You're gonna tell the cast member what drink you want and they'll do it for you. And if you have the refillable mugs, they'll actually fill up a paper cup for you, and then you'll put the drink in yourself into your mug. Okay, so let's talk about getting to the parks. We normally relied on bus transportation to take us where we needed to go. And when you get to the bus stop, you'll notice that there are social distance markings on the ground saying, please wait here. And then once the bus arrives, the driver actually comes off of the bus and then asks how many is in your party, and then they'll assign you a specific seating area on the bus. They also had these plastic dividers that separated different groups, and it was very nice not being packed in there like sardines. In fact, in some situations, we were the only passengers on the entire bus, which was kind of crazy to me because, yeah, again, I remember back in the day, we would be packed in there like sardines. The only thing that sucked though is if you were staying at Saratoga and you were at one of the later bus stops, there were some situations where by the time we got to those other bus stops, the bus was already full. So then those passengers would have to wait again for another bus to come pick them up, which would really suck. So if you're staying at Saratoga Springs for the first time, it's such a beautiful resort. It's just really big. So we were actually in the paddock area, and it was bus stop number 3. And after our bus stop is when we noticed that it would start getting full. So if you're looking for room requests or like what area to stay in, we really enjoyed staying in the paddock area. So let's talk about theme park reservations. In order to make your theme park reservations, you do have to have active tickets linked onto your profile already, and then you can make your reservations on their website or on the Walt Disney World app. So once you get to the theme park, the first thing you have to do after you get off the bus is a temperature check. So the temperature check is done by a third It's done by a third-party healthcare provider, and once they take your temperature, you're free to continue on to the security line. I didn't know that there were changes to the security line, and in fact, I am really happy with what they do now. You just walk through in a single file line these posts that kind of look like a metal detector, and you're done. I was like mind blown because, you know, back in the day you'd have somebody rummage through your stuff before you can continue on. So yeah, the whole process between getting your temperature taken and getting through the security line was quick. At the security line, they do tell you though, if you have an umbrella, you have to take that out of your bag and hold it out in front of you as you walk through the, I don't want to say metal detectors, but I guess I'll just call them the detectors. So you hold your umbrella in front of you going through the detectors. Alright, so once you get to the entrance where you scan your magic band, something that Sean noticed that I didn't notice is that you don't have to do the fingerprint biometrics anymore. You just scan your magic band and you walk through. So I know one of the special things about going to a Disney theme park is getting to meet characters. And unfortunately during this time there is no character meet and greets, but they do have characters out and about sometimes, and when I say out and about, they're not like walking on Main Street or anything like that. But for example, at Country Bear Jamboree, the characters were at the top of the building waving at guests, so that was kind of special. And like over at Epcot, you can find Winnie the Pooh in the gardens trying to catch butterflies. Sometimes you would see Joy out there just waving at guests. So they try to make it as special as they can during these times. There are no parades right now, unfortunately, but what they do have are these things called cavalcades, which are basically mini parades, and they just happen out of the blue. So sometimes you'll see the Disney princesses driving by. We saw over at Disney's Hollywood Studios like Pixar characters walking by. It's really cool because they have music, and it's just random. So you feel lucky and surprised when you're graced with their presence. So I really did enjoy those little surprises throughout the park. Alright, so let's talk about face masks now while you're inside the park. The only time you can have your face mask removed is if you are stationary and off to the side to eat or drink something. Again, stationary and off to the side. When you're in a line queue, there's a specific point in a line where you can no longer eat or drink anything, so you want to plan ahead and make sure you drink your coffee or your water bottle or whatever it may be before you get to that certain point in the line. And then of course, if you're at a dining establishment, you can remove your mask while you're sitting at your table, but if you do have to go use a restroom or run out to grab something really quick, you do have to put on your mask. As you guys already know, there are no fast passes. The only one that you do have to worry about booking in advance is Rise of the Resistance. You have to get a boarding pass for that, and you can do that the day of. And I'll talk more about that later in a different vlog. But anyways, I like not having fast passes because we could do everything spontaneously. We could go with the flow. We were not tied to a specific schedule, and we could just do whatever we wanted to, and I loved that. One of the stresses of planning a Walt Disney World vacation is worrying about fast passes. If you didn't make your fast pass reservations online when your window booked, sometimes you were SOL for some of those rides. So again, it was just nice to be able to enjoy the theme park at a limited capacity. I don't think I talked about the capacity yet, but as of right now, it's still at 35%, so the crowds are not that bad. And for some of these attractions, there's not even a wait time. You just walk right on. And if you do wait, the lines are as short as like 5 minutes. I would say most of the time if we had to wait for something, the average wait time was about, 15 to 25 minutes. The longest rides that we waited for was about, I think, 40, almost 45 minutes, and that was for Flight of Passage and also the Slinky Dog Dash. So those are two very popular attractions that some people wait hours and hours and hours for. And yeah, we got to do them in about 40 minutes, which is a really good time frame considering how long people usually wait for those in regular times. So when you're in line, you'll notice that on the ground there are these social distance markers that are placed 6 feet apart, and I really enjoyed that because we had our own little personal bubble. I think I already mentioned this about hand sanitizer, but there is hand sanitizer right before you hop onto an attraction and then also right after the attraction. Sometimes the lines looked horrendously long, but they are not that bad. They actually move pretty fast, so when you're waiting in line, it doesn't feel like you're waiting in a line as long as it looks. Oh, so something else I wanted to point out about waiting in lines is that unfortunately the interactive activities are closed off. So for example, over at the Winnie the Pooh line at Magic Kingdom, you can't play in Rabbit's Garden, so just something to be aware of. If you have kids that normally love playing with those activities, you'll want to have something else to keep them occupied while waiting in line. Some of the attractions are modified right now where you're missing a small piece of the story. Well, in some situations, I guess they're big pieces. But for example, with the Haunted Mansion attraction, you don't get that stretching room scene anymore. In fact, you just walk right through that chamber and then you hop right onto your Doom buggy. So that might be a little disappointment for Haunted Mansion enthusiasts. Another attraction that I can think of at the top of my head that's different is Test Track. So one of the things that's fun about Test Track is that you can build your car, right? Well, right now you're not able to build your car. You just have like a pre-built car waiting for you when you get into your seat. Let's talk about the quick service dining experience at Walt Disney World. So most of the time, if not all of the times, for quick service locations, you're going to have to use the mobile app to place your order. And I want you to know this, especially if you're the type of person that budgets for vacations and wants to pay for things with cash. In some situations, you're not going to be able to pay with cash. So just be aware of that. Have like a gift card or a credit card ready to use for those situations. So some of the quick service locations are closed off, and what I mean by that is there is a cast member at the entrance that will check people in, and you can only go into the establishment if your order is already ready. So once you get the notification that your food is ready, it'll tell you like what window station to pick up your food at, and you check in with a cast member, they'll let you in, you grab your food, and then you can find a seating area. Now as far as the tables go, they have removed some of the tables to create that physical distance, and if they were not able to remove a table, they did leave signs on them saying that it's closed off for social distancing. Alright you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and found the information helpful as you plan your trip to the most magical place on earth. If you decide to go during this time, I hope you have the most magical time while staying safe and healthy. See you again real soon.